Hello, welcome back, my favorite movement enthusiasts. Today we're gonna go through the most important calisthenics beginner exercises that you should definitely be able to do before you learn anything else. Not only because those will make up the foundation on which we build upon the rest of our calisthenics exercises, but also because these positions are beneficial on their own, even if you do not want to extend or advance your calisthenics routine whatsoever. So if you're ready, let's get right into it. And number one will be hanging. And when it comes to hanging, we have to differentiate between a passive hang for decompression or an active hang for building static strength. Now, if you're still building beginner grip strength, I would highly advise to have something below you so you can actually grab here without having to worry about anything else. And all you want to do from here is just step back and slowly get yourself into this passive hanging position. This will start decompressing every single joint in your entire body, going down your entire spine and loosening up even our hips and our knees, meaning it's an absurdly effective exercise for both stretching and decompressing. It'll help out a lot of people who struggle, for instance, with frozen shoulder or shoulder impingement. And the only thing you need to worry about is being able to fully relax into this position. Start out in an active hang and start extending your arms, loosening up your shoulders, decompressing your rotator cuffs, and do the same thing for your entire spine. And if you have back pain or lumbar pain specifically, this will also help you loosen up all of those problems as long as they are connected to tightness and not to injuries. As for the active hang, we will start in the opposite, in a totally decompressive passive hang. Now from here, we're gonna start pulling our shoulder blades down into scapular depression, pulling them together into scapular adduction, and we're gonna bend the tiniest bit in our arms as well. We wanna build massive static strength by just holding for longer and longer periods of time. Now, both the active as well as the passive hang, I would suggest working up until you can hold on for a complete minute, because that'll be the foundation of all kinds of exercises that are really important when it comes to calisthenics. Be it scapular pull-ups, be it classic pull-ups, or even just more advanced pull-ups. You will require the grip strength and you will require the control when you are hanging from a bar. Which moves us to number two, being extended arm support. Now, the easiest variation for that would just being in a quadruped position and keeping our arms fully extended. We just want to hold like so and build up the strength to, over time, be able to raise our knees and hold a classic plank, which will be the foundation for all kinds of more advanced calisthenics exercises like hollow body holds and all kinds of levers. Now, after being able to hold at the very least a complete minute with your arms fully extended, you can add more resistance by elevating your lower body. You can use a box or whatever you have, and after that, we're gonna start bending in our hips to put more and more and more of our body weight onto our arms. If you can hold this for a complete minute once more, then you can move on to working this stuff in a handstand position. Now, be sure to go into scapular elevation and lengthen your arms as much as you can and hold once again until you can go for 60 seconds. And if you want to add even more arm support, you can open up and start swaying from one side to the other, putting more and more pressure on one arm before switching to the other side. And if you want to advance even more, now we can move sideways and go for classic shoulder touches and switch it up from one side to the other. Additionally, we will go into a support position also on a dip bar, which is fixed, meaning you don't actually have to go through a lot of stabilization. Just keep your arms extended and your shoulders lengthened. And once you're able to support your entire body weight on a dip bar for up to a full minute, now you can get into gymnastic rings or TRX, where we have a lot of stabilization from our shoulders and we need to be able to fully support our entire body weight. Now you've basically built the entire foundation you will require for being able to do handstands, dips or more advanced ring exercises, as well as some of the more advanced push-up or planche exercises. Now this moves us to the bending exercises in our arms, where we basically go through an entire or the longest range of motion we have in our elbows by bending and extending. Now the easiest variation, once again, is an assisted push-up variation. Over time you should be able to raise your knees and go into this classic push-up exercise, and I would highly suggest to play around with it a little bit. Not just going through classical push-up variations, but also some of the unilateral exercises, for instance, where we only bend one side while extending the other side, giving us once again this support part in the extended side with the bending strength in the other side. For instance, archers or typewriter push-ups are amazing to work on that strength specifically. Of course, advancing that would move us into the dips category, going through an entire bend, long ranges of motion, and extending once more. And here you can add, once again, support exercises. Hold statically at the highest point, hold statically in the middle, hold the static in the lowest point, and play around a little bit. And of course, the same thing goes for switching from anterior chain dominance, meaning our chest, to posterior chain dominance, our back musculature, going through these exact bending exercises to build the same foundation we have for our anterior chain as well as our posterior chain. If you do not have the strength to do it like so, you can just get up, open up, and extend from here. And over time, you can move lower and lower and lower until you're parallel to the ground and build up more and more strength in your posterior chain. And this, of course, helps us build the necessary foundation for all kinds of pull-up exercises. And this moves us to probably the most neglected calisthenics foundation, and that would be the leg exercises. Number one, you should be able to go into a complete resting squat, just like so, and extend your legs once again. Going through this motion is amazing at building not only hip and leg mobility, but also amazing strength and coordination. However, and I need to stress this, just doing symmetrical exercises will leave you open for a lot of injuries and a lot of problems that can develop over time, because usually humans do not work in symmetrical movement patterns. Meaning there are two exercises I would highly suggest adding to the classic squat, and that would be number one, lunges, because they can help you balance out all kinds of imbalances you have when it comes to leg strength, especially if you only do symmetrical exercises. But even more important would be the Cossack squat, standing in an open position and moving laterally. For one, you're going to require a lot more strength and mobility and control in your legs to go through this movement, so you can take it step by step, going through level number one, learning how to bring your hip joint on the same level as your knee joint. And once you can do that on both sides, with your feet completely flat and parallel, now you can switch it up, sitting to one side and then sitting to the other side. Now there are an infinite amount of variations when it comes to the Cossack squat. If you want to learn more about it, you can check out this video up here. And of course, if you want to advance this, you can not only increase your range of motion by starting in an elevation, but you can also start crossing over, for instance, behind your legs, adding a little bit more stretch in our hip flexors and quads, as well as a lot of ankle mobility, going through ankle flexion and pushing our knee forward, which is going to help us in the long run with all kinds of leg exercises. And of course, advancing even more to unilateral exercises such as the split squat, which have a lot of one-sided dominance to help us balance out our weaknesses, build a little bit more strength, and add a lot more stretch to the other side, meaning we're lengthening our hip flexors and our quads, working on our hip mobility while strengthening the other side. And last but definitely not least, this is a full body mobility drill through one single movement. I would highly advise you to learn, because this will help you through increasing your range of motion, increase your capabilities when it comes to calisthenics, both through doing longer movements, which are going to help you make you stronger in the long run, as well as avoid getting injured because you are loose, limber, and qualified to move around as much as you want. So we're going to start with a 90-90 sitting position. Turn our upper body sideways and go through this lumbar or complete spinal rotation, actually opening up our hips and abdominals, turning our entire body and going through this nice flexibility routine. We have ankle extension and complete ankle flexion. We have a lot of strength dominance in the entire leg musculature as well as our upper body through control and through our core, and we have this nice flexibility bonus, and it feels absolutely amazing just going through this movement pattern to strengthen and to release tension. Now if you want to go through this step by step, there is a complete guide you can check out here, and this will take care of a lot of your mobility or flexibility needs in general. So learn all of them before you try to advance to more difficult things. With that said, sadly, that's all the time I've left for you today. If you like the video and subscribe, and please check out other videos on this channel because we literally have new ones every single day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Captain Cairo, peace out.